going to pick up where we left off. Hopefully people will join as they realize it's back on. We all got kicked off for a second. All right, we're going to come to the center of the mat, stacking the joints, hands right underneath the shoulders. We have our knees about hip width apart. We're going to do our cat-cow stretches. Let's go ahead and drop the chin down, shoulders back and away from the ears, tailbone into the sky, into our cow stretch. Stretching into that low back, palms are nice and flat against the mat. And then from here, let's round the back, tucking in the chin, bringing the belly button nice and high into our scaredy cat pose, separating those shoulder blades at the top. And once more, let's drop that belly button down, shoulders away from the ears, chin and chest forward, dropping into our cow pose. And rounding the back, tucking in the chin, bringing that belly button nice and high. Very nice. From here, come to a neutral spine position. Let's go ahead and sit back onto the heels as much as you can, extending your hands all the way toward the top of the mat, forehead to the ground, into a resting posture. This is child's pose. Let's take a few deep breaths right here. Let's bring it back to all fours. I like to spend a little time stretching out our wrists. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our fingertips and flex them back toward us. We're going to rock forward and back on the top of that hand, getting a good stretch down into the forearms. And let's switch our hands. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side, bringing the fingertips back toward us, rocking forward and back on the top of our hand, stretching out the muscles and the tendons and the joints that are into our wrist. Let's bring that side to a stop, and one more wrist stretch. You're going to bring your fingertips all the way back toward you. You have your wrists pointed forward, and dig your fingertips down into the mat. You're still rocking forward and back, feeling that stretch all the way down through the forearms. Still keeping the breath nice and long. Feeling the ribcage contract and expand with each and every breath. Very nice. Let's flip our fingertips back toward 12 o'clock on the mat. We'll sink back once more for a child's pose. Let's come back up to all fours, stacking the joints appropriately. We'll dig the toes in, spike the hips all the way up into the air so that we are in our first downward facing dog of the day. So in this pose, you're going to drop your head in between the arms. You can paddle the heels right and left to get a nice stretch into the back of the legs. Let's press both heels down at the same time into the mat. Nice big deep breaths here. And then from here, let's tippy toe all the way up toward our wrists, creating a nice forward fold. Now, if this forward fold is challenging for you to keep your hands flat on the mat, create a bend in the knees, leaving your torso in line with the top of your thighs. Still keep that gaze through the back of your legs to keep your neck in line. From here, let's bring our toes together. We'll circle sweep the hands all the way up into the air, touching the palms together and then bringing the arms out to a T. We're going to rotate one direction just at the waist. Hey, y'all. And then come back to the center, reaching the hands all the way up into the air. And let's do the same thing the opposite direction. We'll rotate at the waist, the opposite direction, getting that good flexion into the spine and all the way up into the air with an inhale. And as we exhale, go ahead and shoot those hips forward into a nice cactus. So cactus means that your glutes are nice and tight, your hips are forward, you have a nice 90-degree angle with the arms. A few deep breaths here. Take your eyes all the way to the back of the room. Where your eyes go, your body will follow. You'll get nice and deep into that stretch. Inhaling, reaching the hands all the way up. Setting up a sun salutation. Go ahead and dive in over the toes. We inhale, bringing our fingertips to our shins. And we exhale, coming all the way down to the mat, stepping back into our high plank. Let's go ahead and hold this plank nice and strong, feeling our weight evenly distributed between our fingertips and our toe tips as we sit here. Let's bring ourselves all the way down to the mat. Tuck those toes under, press back into upward facing dog. Go ahead and separate those shoulders from the ears. Nice long neck, bringing the crown of the head back toward your seat. Rock your hips down toward the mat. A few deep breaths here. Let's look over one shoulder. and over the opposite shoulder as well. Let's come back to the center, really lifting the chin all the way up into the air. Really stretch, stretch, stretch all the way back. Let's bring our chest all the way down to the ground. Dig the toes in, spiking the hips all the way up into the air. We're going into another block of movement, so I'd like you to take your right foot and go ahead and float it all the way up into the air. Get a good stretch into the glute, reaching the toes all the way up into the sky. Bend at the knee and draw a circle with that knee, opening up the hip. From here, we'll take this foot and we'll swing it through for a nice low lunge. Once you find that balance and you find that center, go ahead and circle sweep the hands all the way up into a nice high crescent. So high crescent, let's talk about it. We have both sets of toes facing 12 o'clock. We're rocking that front knee toward our pinky toe. We're feeling that weight evenly distributed in between our legs. Once you get comfortable with that, get uncomfortable. Sink it in just a little bit more. From here, let's bring our hands all the way down to the mat. We'll bring our knee down as well. Tuck that toe under, and we're going to do a couple of hip flexor stretches. So first, let's start with just a low lunge. You're going to take your hips and rock them down toward the mat, taking that knee out toward the pinky toe. You should feel a stretch into the top of the hips. Now for your hands, you can place them on the top of your thigh. You can have them neck framing your foot, whatever works for you. Let's rock back onto that supporting leg. We're setting up for our lizard stretch next. So we're going to take our hands right next to our big toe. If that feels okay for you, go ahead and create a little more space in between the legs. If that still feels okay, rock that knee open. If it still feels okay, you can come all the way down to the forearms. As long as you can feel a stretch into the top of the hips, you are doing it just right. Let's roll our knee back to the center, come all the way back up onto the palms. Let's set up for our pigeon stretch since we're already halfway there, bringing our ankle a little bit closer to our wrist, extending your leg back behind you. You can stay right here if that's what feels good, or you can hinge forward and place your hands one on top of the other and allow yourself to rest on the top of the hands. So in order to get a stretch into both legs at the same time, try to roll yourself toward that extended leg. Let's come to sit up nice and tall. The leg that you have behind you, let's swing it all the way around. It may stop right here, that's all right. Go ahead and hook that opposite elbow in, sit up nice and tall and give me a good twist. If you're able, you can go ahead and stack the joints and reach across the lap, bringing your hands to the base of the spine and look over your shoulder. Get that good spine rotation. Really try to keep both of your hips connected to the mat. Let's unwind ourselves, and then we'll sink back briefly into a child's pose. Good job. We're going to do all of that on the opposite side. Let's come back to all fours, and then from here we'll dig the toes in, spiking the hips all the way up into the air. Go ahead and tippy toe all the way to the top. So we're back into a forward fold. This time I like you to go elbow to elbow into ragdoll, creating a little more weight into the top half of the body, getting deeper into the stretch, really feeling this into the hamstrings. You can rock side to side if that's what feels good. Still keeping that breath nice and long. Feeling the ribcage expand. Try not to grunt or hold your breath through any of these postures. We're going to go ahead and tent our fingers down onto the mat, bring those toes together, circle sweep the hands all the way up into the air. Touch those palms together, setting up that sun salutation to go into the other side, diving in over the toes. Let's inhale, bringing the fingertips to the shins. From here, let's take our hands and step back into our high plank position. We're back in our high plank, feeling nice and strong, pushing that ground away as opposed to holding ourselves up. We're going to go to that left side this time. So let's go ahead and lift that left foot all the way up into the air. Getting that good stretch all the way through the hip, really pointing that toe into the sky, dropping the ears in between the arms. From here, go ahead and bend at the knee. Draw a circle with your knee. Bring that leg to a stop. From here, we're going to take this foot and swing it through to be framed by our hands. for a nice low lunge. Once you find that center and find that balance, we can circle sweep the hands all the way into the air for our nice high crescent, just like we did on the opposite side. So just like on the other side, we have both sets of toes facing 12 o'clock. We're rocking that front knee toward the pinky toe. Once you have all of that going for you, let's go ahead and get uncomfortable, leaning in more, challenge that balance and that flexibility. From here, we'll bring our fingertips all the way down to the mat. Bring your knee down as well. Tuck those toes under so that we are just taking a knee on the mat. We're going to do our low body stretches from here. So let's start with the low lunge, rocking the hips all the way down toward the mat, not letting the knee extend the toes. If it feels like your knee is going a little bit too far, just back that supporting leg up just a little bit. And let's rock back once more. Let's bring our hands right next to our big toe. We're going to find that sweet spot for our lizard stretch. So you can create more space in between your heel and your knee. Rock that knee open, and you can come all the way down onto your forearms if that's what feels good. Very nice. Let's roll that knee back toward the midline of the body. We'll come back up onto the palms. We'll go for our pigeon stretch since we're halfway there on this side as well. So we'll bring our ankle a little closer to our wrist, bending one leg in the front, extending the other one along the back of the mat. You can stay here if that's what feels good, or you can hinge all the way forward, placing your hands underneath the forehead for some support. Go ahead and roll the body toward that extended leg to get a stretch into both legs at the same time. Very nice. Let's come to sit up nice and tall. The leg that you have behind you, swing it all the way around. If it stops right here, that's cool. Go ahead and hook that elbow in. Sit up nice and tall on top of those hips and give me a good twist. If you can go ahead and stack the joints like this and reach across the lap. Sit up nice and tall, bring your hand toward the base of the spine, shoulder away from the ear. Try to look over your shoulder behind you. Very nice. Let's unwind ourselves. And from here, let's bring the soles of our feet together for a nice butterfly stretch. Bringing the heels as close to us as we can, kind of lifting the pinky toes up and toward us, shoulders away from the ears. Get a good stretch into the inner thighs. Go ahead and slide your feet forward. Open up the feet like a book. You can hinge forward at the waist, dropping the forehead down toward the heels. Feel that stretch into the top of your hips. Let's come to sit up nice and tall. We're going to roll it all the way onto our back. A few more stretches before we end our practice today. So roll it all the way onto your back, bringing your knees all the way into your chest. Give your knees a big old hug. Rock side to side, using the ground as a means to release some of the pressure that's into your back. Go ahead and tuck that chin all the way in. Try to line up all of your vertebrae from the top of your neck all the way down through your back. Let's go ahead and cross at the ankles. Bring your hands to the top of your feet. We're going to pull the legs down and really connect the small of our back to the ground, getting a good stretch. From here, let's go into waterfall. So we're going to bring our hands right next to us onto the mat, pointing the toes all the way up into the air, and then tilt your waterfall. So that means that you're going to bring your big toes back toward your head, really bring them back toward your forehead. You should feel an intense stretch into the back of the legs. This allows all the built up fluid that is in our legs to circulate into our core and get filtered properly so it can be distributed into the body. From here, let's lower one heel down to the ground, still keeping that toe flexed. Try to connect the calf to the ground if you can. We're going to bend that other knee and release your fingers over the shin, and we can pull that knee a little off center toward our shoulder. The The leg that you have bent, take it across the body. Take the arms out to a T. Turn your head the opposite direction of your bent leg. Let's roll ourselves back to the center. Let's shoot those toes up for another waterfall. Hands right next to you onto the mat. Toes up into the air. Let's go ahead and have those heels facing the ceiling. Bringing the toes back toward the forehead. Get that stretch in the back of the legs. Nice big long deep breaths here. Same stretches, just opposite side of the body this time. Drop that other leg down. Bring it along the mat. Go ahead and bend at the knee. Interlace the fingers and pull everything toward your shoulder. The leg that you have bent, take it all the way across the body. Take the arms out to a T. Turn your head the opposite direction of your bent leg. Let's roll ourselves back to the center. Let's go for a full body stretch end to end, as if someone is pulling your fingertips and toe tips in opposite directions. Arch the back along the ground. Big deep breaths and round it out. Flatten out that back. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, whatever feels good. And then you can find yourself in your mat. Dropping the knees toward the edges of the mat, bringing the soles of your feet together. Bring your hands to your belly. A few deep breaths and recline butterfly. Let's extend our feet along the length of the mat. Allow your toes to drop toward the corners of the mat, knuckles to the ground, palms to the sky. Keep those eyes closed. Let's take a few deep breaths in Savasana. So try to not hold any tension into your arms, your legs, your neck, or your shoulders or your face. Feel yourself sink into the ground. Completely relax before you begin your Saturday. Fill those lungs up completely. Allow them to empty. Big deep breaths. That moment that you want to take a breath throughout the day, this is it, honey. Get all that you can. Start to find a little life into the body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Go for another full body stretch if that's what feels good. And then when you're ready, join me in the center of your mat, crisscross applesauce, or however you like to sit. A few more stretches and we're all done. Let's reach the hands all the way up into the air. Let's take a set of fingertips in front and a set behind. Look over your shoulder behind you. Now let's come back to the center, reaching the hands all the way up into the air. Set of fingertips in front and a set behind. Look over your shoulder behind you. And let's return to the front once more. Let's take both sets of fingertips behind us. Bring that chest up and forward, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Beautiful. One big inhale in, bringing the palms all the way up. Bring them together. Exhale, bring them down in front of you. Inhale, push away. And exhale, place them on your lap. Hey, y'all, we are all done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest. Hey, Jana. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.